It's Gagasi FM. Good morning. Welcome to it. This is Elevate on Gagasi FM with myself, Khulekani Mbambo. So today I'm hanging out with someone truly inspirational. Mawucabangi Bathu, cabanga into yaselokishini, something that was homebrewed and something that's really taken over the entire country. I remember when Bathu isasegoli nasepitoli. Aye! Sifunan. We had to ask people like, let's guys. But it was really amazing. And everything like that starts off with a dream. And every dream starts off with a person. And today we are hanging out with the person behind Ipopo Bathu. We are hanging out with founder and CEO Theo Baloyi. Good morning.
Morning, brother.
Kambagahle.
Yeah, Kambagahle, but
how much Zulu do you know?
Not too bad.
Welcome to KZN. Yesterday
Thank you.
we were with you, you were having a brand engagement with abantu base KZN. Why was that important for you to come down to KZN and engage nabantu abakhona?
You know, we're a brand that is very intentional from our go-to-market strategy, you know, how we engage with the consumer and how we actually execute our projects, you know, and we are a brand that has been supported by the people. As you've said, that, you know, when we started, you know, Nifuni Bathu, you know, and I think KZN as a region that really supported our business, you know, from earlier on when we came up with the idea and really supported our vision, and hence we are the business that we are today. And oftentimes we do this brand engagement and everything else happens in Gauteng or in Cape Town, you know, so we decided to just take a pause, come back to KZN and really engage with our consumers and engage with the region. And that is why it was very important for us, you know, to come to the region and do that, you know, because this is a region that really supported our business.
Talking about business, when you started off at Alex, I'm sure it was you, a group of your friends, perhaps even Nomdeni, starting off this enterprise, scaling. That's a lot of things that that's one thing a lot of people in business fail in.
Sure.
What would you say were your ingredients, or rather working ingredients, akusebenzela scaling Bathu and the business from elokishini to having now a boardroom with a red chair, so I've heard.
Yeah, and I think to my point earlier on, number one is just having, you know, clear intention and a clear vision around your business. You know, Tina, yes, it's Gagasi, but one of the things that we made sure that we actually achieved was that, you know, yes, we started in a township, but we're not going to become a business that just dies in a township. We're going to corporatize the business, we're going to scale it, you know, and in so doing, you know, and work with the right people. So it's an incredible team at Bathu that really helps scale the business, you know, and putting a great team together with the right skill set so they can be able to scale the business, you know, because you need to focus on your skill set and make sure that the rest of the business is left, you know, upon great hands and capable hands. And for us, I think that has been the ingredient. And number two, obviously, engaging with the consumer. We are a business that really listens to our consumer, our client, and make sure that, you know, whether it's, you know, a positive feedback or it's constructive criticism, we go back to the drawing board and put that into the value chain, put that into the value proposition so that we become the business that, you know, we want to become.
I like how you put it, constructive criticism. But how do you handle that when someone comes through? One thing that you have is affinity to a lot of people, especially abantu abamnyama. They will never go to a global brand and talk whatever it is, give them feedback like that. Has that worked for you in your journey as well, to say, okay, I have something that an international brand doesn't have?
Yes.
People might go to a store, buy a thing, but if they don't like it, they don't tell them. Has that worked for you? Has it worked in your favor?
It has kind of, because I think for us, you know, we really want, you know, are intentional again with our approach, you know, and we make sure that we become a socially responsible brand, you know, in as much as, yes, maybe we might have different types of feedback, but we make sure that, you know, in the little support that we get, on the support that we get, we become socially responsible with that, you know, and make sure that we, you know, focus on the journey, we walk our journey, and we really focus on what matters in our value proposition of building a shoe brand that Africans can proudly affiliate with, you know. And obviously, because we are a brand, again, you know, as opposed to our competitors, we are a brand that really comes back to the communities and becomes socially responsible. We've got a CSI drive called the Bathu for Bathu Care Project. I mean, just this morning, we were in a township, in case in Kwamashi actually, where we actually donated 100 pairs of school shoes. So we say into the region that yes, you've supported us, and it's been really difficult. It's been a difficult journey, but we are socially responsible and want to come back to the community and give back. So we really focus on that element of the business, whether someone is saying this about us or saying whatever. When we started, people said we won't last for 2 years, but 6 years later we're here.
6 years later, I want to go back to your first moment where you realized that I'm really impacting lives.
Sure.
I remember I had a business once, and I think for me, the first time I held a batch of pay slips,
Yes.
I cried.
Sure.
How was that moment? What was that moment?
For me, my moment was really, really, I think, how do I put it, humbling,
Yeah.
The reason I say that is because I quit a job in the UAE, and tax-free, 4 times for us earning in South Africa. I came back home with a vision, and a vision to really be of service to my community. And for me at the time, it was not even about, the number of people that we employ today. It was about, if I can really start this and employ about 2-3 more people, that for me will be a way of paying it forward, because when I started, my mentors and the people that have helped me in the journey, when I went to them to express sort of a sense of gratitude, to say nyabonga for everything that you've done for me, that was met by one big ask. And the ask was, Theo, we don't want anything from you, just pay it forward in your own way. So me paying it forward was through this business, that let me start a business, and if I can employ 2 people, that will be a way of paying it forward for me, Little did I know that business, that small idea that I decided to take a leap of faith for, will employ 400 plus people. You know what I mean? And for me, I think that's a true definition of success, through the impact that we make in societies and communities, and really seeing people's lives changing, and them becoming leaders and doing great things in their lives. For me, that is really, really humbling. And that moment for me was when I actually was in a township, and every day, we would have a few people coming working for us. The next day, you've got a queue in your door, people looking for work. And for me, I knew that this is not just an idea, it's something meaningful.
And you need to be responsible.
And I need to be responsible with it, yeah.
So business has its turbulences. It's always never a nice thing. It's always turbulences. I said this once to someone, it's running a business is solving problems day after day.
Sure.
How do you handle that? The turbulences, the negative things, the tough side of business.
Yeah.
Perhaps cash flow.
For sure.
Do you go to your mentors? How do you handle that? Now I'm speaking for a person who's saying, I've been running this business for X amount of time. I'm having some difficulty. How do I navigate through these particular storms?
Yeah, very good question. So for me, I work with an incredible team at Bathu, amazing leaders at Bathu, with the right skill set as well in the business that is deployed in the business, So I really give it up to our people at Bathu, the good folks at Bathu. So I always go to the team, and number one, be transparent, be honest, and be intentional, because without your team, you are nothing, and I think the transparency thing is a big thing, because oftentimes emerging entrepreneurs want to sort of portray a certain perception, even when you know that times are unfavorable, even when you know that the business is not commercially viable, you want to portray a certain image, So for me, I'm always transparent, I'm intentional, we plan together as a team, and we really open up our business and put it under thorough and thorough diagnosis, and say, here we are. How do we fix this problem? This is a risk, this is a problem for our business. How do we actually move from where we are to the next level?
So instead of you alone sitting in a corner, perhaps with a director, you get 400 people into this problem.
100%.
Guys, how do we fix this?
100%. It's we have a value in our business that says inclusion and diversity. So we are an inclusive business. We're an inclusive ecosystem. Like for example, everything else that happens in Bathu, like we're here for the next 3 days, right? This was planned accordingly. Everyone in the business knows that I'm going to be here today with you, right? So that when they see the podcast out there, they will go like, oh, we didn't know what's with you, Zabalapaya, So it's an inclusive, an informative ecosystem that we have, so that we make sure that everyone internally is updated and knows exactly where the bus is going. Because it's one thing to get people in the bus, but it's another thing to make sure that they're sitting on the right seats.
And everyone knows where we go.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of people who are running businesses by the way, bafuna imali, they want ends meet. How do I, perhaps there's a person uberana kanjani business like right now ubuka wena uzala magama wakhulumayo ecosystem, getting the staff included in whatever decision that's being made. Obviously not all, but lawa manye that are very integral. How do I now transform myself as a business person? Is it possible to even change my attitude towards business for it not to be about monetary value only, building these people? How do I get myself from where I am, where I just care about the bottom line, to a space where I am, quote unquote, like Theo Baloyi, and I make social change?
Sure. It's a difficult one, and I often say this to us, that question. There's different types of entrepreneurs, but to be honest with you, it's about character. It goes down to character and who you are as a person. I'm a product of opportunity. We're Gagasi, and throughout my journey, my life has been blessed with great opportunities, and I know where I come from. I am where I am today because a lot of people believed in me. There's someone who took me from the township and said, I'm going to give you 100% bursary to further your studies in accounting. There's someone who believed in me and said, I'm going to employ you at one of the top 4 accounting firms in the world. There's someone who said, I'm going to not only employ you here, but I'm going to take you overseas so that you can have global experience. So I'm also duty bound to say, when I'm in that position, I don't look down on the people in Alex and say, you guys are lazy and don't want to be employed. I'm also duty bound and responsible to go back and create opportunities for that community and many other communities. So for me, I would say that when you start your business, right, try to make it that it becomes sort of a purpose-driven business. If you can, purpose before profit, because through purpose before profit, through purpose and being intentional, you're gonna get your profit. You know what I mean? Once you do that and you make sure that it's not just about the bottom line and the money and the net profit, right? It's about making impact and making sure that in your value chain, in your culture, in your go-to-market strategy, in the business that you're building, there's some sort of purpose. And I always say this, that I don't wake up to an alarm clock. I wake up to purpose.
So purpose is the one thing that drives you.
Purpose is one thing that drives me. Because I think about, the people that show up at the business every day. I think about the consumer that support us every day. I think about the people that if I didn't start this, where would they be?
They wouldn't have jobs.
They wouldn't have jobs, 100%.
Purpose before profit. I love that.
Yeah.
I want to go into a much more personal side now.
Sure.
Who is Theo? Who is Theo's shoulder to cry on? I want to put it. Is there a shoulder to cry on? No, man, I have family.
Yeah, no, I've got, I always joke around and say, people ask me if I'm married or whatever, and I'm like, they ask me, I'm like, yeah, for sure I'm married, and I've been married for about 5-6 years, and I'm married to the
Please
business.
Don't say that.
I'm married to the business. I'm married to the business. I'm married to Bathu. And I think the people at the business, people that really, again, going back to my point, we run a very transparent business. We are honest with each other, the business, we grow each other, we challenge each other. And I think for me, that's my shoulder to cry on, my team, because always go back and say, guys, we are challenged here and there, the economy is unfavorable and so forth. How do we actually move forward? And, the team it's the people that really, really support me, in my journey.
But at some point, you're gonna plateau and you're going to say, okay, there's a space now.
Yeah. I've got
Is that coming?
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming, and when the time is right, for sure, it's gonna come.
Because a lot of people ask themselves, and I'm pretty sure, one thing about Theo is that uzovele aqoke, abe nice, abe grand, abe sharp, ayele LinkedIn, I postel, and you're like, hey, who is this guy's guy? Who is this person?
Yeah. And obviously, I'm a guy that prefers to keep my personal life personal. But yeah, there is a personal life, and I stick to that, and I keep the business life, or my work life as is. Yeah.
Menzi Ngubane, the late great, wake wakhuluma that thing, he would not be the Menzi Ngubane that we see if it wasn't for the support structure, the family that he had behind it. So, and I think a lot of people negate that whenever they chase greatness and want to make their names across the world. But Kubo would say, I don't have a structure that's backing me up somewhere.
Sure.
But kudos to you, man. A lot of people want the limelight. They want social media. They want to be posted. They want this. Sifuna ukwazi. Sonke sifuna ukwazi.
Yes, yes.
But at the end of the day, that ends up crippling your corner. And when we heard you end up not having a corner to go to.
100%.
Because your corner's now been crippled by
Yes,
us.
yes, yes.
Social media and people around are very detrimental. But I want to get into expansion now.
Yes.
You have 4 stores in KZN, in Gateway, Galeria, Pavilion, and Midlands Mall.
Yes.
KZN is a very different province in comparison to perhaps Gauteng. Gauteng in landmass is a bit smaller.
Sure.
Is there any opportunity to open other stores across the province, perhaps in Newcastle, South Coast, or even Richards Bay?
Yeah, and I think for us, for the longest of time, we've always been a brand that obviously it's a national brand, and we really try to accommodate the communities that we trade in, and everything else that we always do, we do it in other provinces. We do it, at Jozi, in Cape Town, and so forth, So we decided to take a pause intentionally to come to the region and really understand our consumer in the region, understand the main role players, from media players to different types of stakeholders in the region, that we can actually reintroduce our brand, to them and say, we want to work, with the people in the province and the people in the region. So that's where we are. And obviously the idea is to make sure that, as you've mentioned, it's a very big region. The idea is that we want to be able to get into the region and dominate and make sure that we're doing things right. It's not more of like a national, cut and copy and paste or replicate top-up model. We want to make it tailor make it to the region. I mean, if you look at the activation that we did yesterday, everything else that we did there was from local people. I'm talking local entrepreneurs, from the people who set up the venue, the talent that was performing there was purely local from KZN, and so forth. Media as well. We try to make sure that we get exposed and in platforms, in local platforms, in the region and so forth. So that is the plan. And yes, the plan is there to expand further, but first you need to understand insights or local insights and understand the local market before we say, okay, cool, this is how we're diversifying and this is how we're expanding.
Paying homage to, I'm loving that sneaker. You're paying
Sure.
homage to your family.
Yes.
Kalanga.
Yep.
It's a clan name, eh?
Yes.
This is really, really nice.
Thank you.
The nice part about it is that it's been sold out.
Sure. Sold out, yeah.
Can we expect it soon? I'm sure we can, but
Yeah, we can expect.
no,
Towards the festive. But basically, the project was that we always say that we want to build a shoe brand that Africans can proudly affiliate with, right? And if you look at the continent Africa, we are known to be a very diversified continent, with rich in heritage, different cultures, different ways of speaking, different ways of celebrating our cultures, and we thought about it, that why do we consume brands that we don't even know where they come from, brands that we don't even can't relate with, right? So in celebrating, heritage, we believe that, or in building a shoe brand that Africans can proudly affiliate with, we believe that it's about time that Africans embody and incorporate the heritage, the culture, the diversity into products and services, into ecosystems, into value chains that the rest of the world, can consume, or that we can export to the rest of the world. And for us, we did that through Kalanga, because it's my clan name. And when you look at this clan name, it's not only a South African clan name. It comes up in Congo, all the way from up Congo, Central Africa, right? It goes right into Zambia, it goes to Zimbabwe, it goes to Botswana, into South Africa, in Limpopo, the northern side of South Africa.
So it's a multicultural.
It's a multicultural clan, and with it, as building, our thing says we want to build a shoe brand that Africans can proudly affiliate with. So it's about time that we take our heritage and embody them into products and services that we can sell to the rest of the world. And that's what we're trying to achieve with this, our range, our product offering.
So with this, we're not just selling a shoe, we're selling culture, we're
Absolutely.
selling heritage to the rest of the world.
Absolutely.
And we know that's the one thing Africa has and the world is missing.
For sure.
Thank you so much, Theo Baloyi, for coming through and joining us.
Thank you for the invite.
Amazing.
Thank you for the invite.
Thank you so much.
Sure.